Women over 60. Avoid 4 weird habits men find disgusting no matter how beautiful you are.
Welcome to Wise Life After 60. So grateful to have you here. Let's be honest. Attraction, at any age, isn't just about looks. You can be stunning, graceful, even magnetic, and still leave a man quietly repelled without ever realizing why. What men find truly disgusting after 60 isn't about wrinkles, weight, or years. It's about energy, the invisible atmosphere you carry when you walk into a room. In today's video, we're revealing 5 hidden patterns women often fall into, habits that silently push men away even when beauty remains. But these aren't just lessons about men. They're lessons about dignity, energy, and emotional wisdom. Because at this age, it's not about trying to please anyone. It's about embodying what draws respect, not pity, magnetism, not manipulation. Before we begin, tap that like button and subscribe to Wise Life After 60, where we explore the Wisdom Chronicles, reflections on love, self-respect, and conscious living in the most liberated years of life. Let's begin with the first truth, the one most women never suspect.
Habit number 1. Complaining disguised as connection. Sometimes we use complaining as a way to feel close to someone. We think that by sharing our pain, people will understand us better. But there's a thin line between vulnerability and negativity. When a woman constantly talks about what's wrong, her health, her children, her loneliness, she doesn't realize that she's slowly turning every conversation into emotional labor for the other person. It's not her fault, it's a habit. After years of feeling unheard, complaining can feel like the only way to release pressure. But over time, it pushes people away instead of drawing them closer. Men, especially as they grow older, are sensitive to energy. They have had decades of stress, competition, and pressure. What they want now is calm, not constant reminders of what's broken. When every talk feels heavy, they begin to pull back quietly, not because they don't care, but because they can't relax around you. Here's the truth. People don't connect through problems, they connect through how they handle them. Talk about what you've learned, not just what you've lost. Replace "you wouldn't believe what happened again" with "I've been through worse and I'm still here." That small shift changes everything. You don't need to pretend life is perfect, just show that you're bigger than what happened to you. That's what makes you magnetic. And that brings us to the next habit, one that often hides behind good intentions. You think you're showing care, but to him it starts to feel like pressure. Let's talk about how caring too much slowly turns into controlling, and why it makes even the kindest men pull away.
Habit number 2. Caring that turns into control. Control rarely starts with bad intentions. Most women over 60 have spent their lives managing homes, families, jobs, chaos. It becomes second nature. But the same instincts that kept everything running smoothly can suffocate a relationship later in life. Men often say, "I love her, but I feel like I can't breathe." They don't mean physically, they mean emotionally. When you tell him what to eat, how to drive, how to spend money, or what he should wear, it feels like you're doubting his ability to make his own choices. What started as caring turns into correction, and that correction feels like criticism. Helen, a retired nurse, once told me, "I thought I was helping him, but I realized I was mothering him." That realization saved her relationship. She learned to step back, to let her partner forget, make mistakes, and figure things out without her stepping in every time. Men want peace. They've spent a lifetime being told what to do. What melts their hearts isn't a woman who organizes their life, it's a woman who believes they can handle it. Try this. Next time you feel the urge to fix something, pause and ask yourself, does this need my control or just my calm? That small pause often saves connection before it breaks. If you've ever learned that letting go brings more closeness than control, share that moment in the comments. You might help another woman breathe easier too.
Habit number 3. Modesty that sounds like self-disrespect. For many women over 60, modesty was taught as virtue. Don't draw too much attention to yourself. Be humble. Don't brag. Those lessons came from a different time when being quiet was seen as grace. But there's a fine line between humility and self-erasure, and too many women cross it without realizing. When you say things like, "Oh, I'm too old for that," or "No one looks at me anymore," it sounds innocent, but what you're really doing is giving the world permission to overlook you. It's as if you're saying, "I don't count anymore." And when you say it often enough, people start to believe you, including men. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Men can sense the energy of self-respect just as easily as they sense the lack of it. When you put yourself down, even as a joke, they don't think you're funny or modest. They feel uneasy. Because deep down, every man wants to admire the woman he's with. He wants to feel proud to walk beside her, not worried that she doesn't see her own value. One man in his 70s once said to me, "I don't need a model. I need a woman who's proud of who she is. That's what makes her beautiful." And he's right. Confidence doesn't mean acting 20 again. It means standing tall in the life you've lived, the lessons, the mistakes, the resilience. When a woman owns that, she carries an energy that no cream, no dress, no facelift can buy. Think of the women who walk into a room and immediately command respect, not because they're loud, but because they look comfortable in their own skin. They don't apologize for their age, their opinions, or their style. They smile like they belong, because they do. Men notice that energy instantly. It says, "I know who I am, and I like her." That's the kind of confidence that draws people in, not just romantically, but in every aspect of life. So if you've fallen into the habit of brushing off compliments, stop for a moment. When someone tells you that you look nice, just smile and say, "Thank you." You deserve to accept kindness without deflecting it. You deserve to take up space in the room, not shrink to fit into it. Confidence after 60 is quiet, but powerful. It's not about proving your worth, it's about remembering it. When you walk with that sense of ease, men stop seeing your age. They start seeing your presence. And that presence, self-assured, calm, and alive, is what truly makes you unforgettable.
Habit number 4. Strength without warmth. After decades of responsibility, many women forget what it's like to let someone in. They've been strong for so long that vulnerability feels unsafe, like weakness. But here's the truth. Strength without warmth feels cold. It makes people admire you, but not approach you. Men admire independence, but they fall in love with softness, with laughter, curiosity, and the simple feeling that they can relax around you. You can be strong and still be gentle. The two don't cancel each other out. They balance each other. Diane, a retired teacher, once said, "I ran my life like a checklist, even my relationships." Then I realized men don't fall in love with efficiency. She began to slow down, smiled more, listened without planning her next sentence, let moments breathe, and suddenly, people opened up to her again. Warmth isn't about being girly. It's about being emotionally available. When you smile, laugh easily, or speak with kindness, you remind others that you're still capable of joy. That kind of energy doesn't just attract, it heals. If you've been strong for too long, maybe it's time to soften again. The world won't fall apart if you stop managing it. Sometimes, strength is knowing when to be gentle. And if this feels familiar, if you've ever realized that lowering your guard or letting someone take care of you brought more connection than doing everything alone, share that story in the comments below. Your experience might remind another woman that softness isn't weakness. It's the part of us that keeps love alive, no matter our age. Habit number 5. Bitterness hidden behind "I'm fine." We've all said it, "I'm fine," when we were anything but. It's a small phrase, but when you repeat it for years, it becomes more than a habit. It becomes armor. You wear it so often that you start to believe it yourself. But the truth always leaks through, in your tone, your silence, or the way your eyes look away when someone asks if you're happy. Many women carry quiet anger or sadness long after they think they've healed. It's not always about one person. Sometimes it's decades of feeling unseen, unappreciated, or disappointed. Life teaches you to toughen up, and before you know it, that toughness turns into distance. You smile, you function, you survive, but part of you stops believing in closeness. Men can feel this bitterness even when you think you're hiding it. It's not the words you say, it's the emotional wall they sense. It's in the sarcastic jokes about all men being the same, the small sighs when someone tries to get close, the way you brace yourself for disappointment before anything even happens. You may think you're protecting yourself, but in reality, you're keeping love from reaching you at all. Carol, a woman in her late 60s, once told me, "I didn't realize I was punishing every new man for what my ex did." She wasn't angry anymore, at least not consciously, but every time a man was late or said something wrong, she'd shut down. Her new relationships ended the same way every time, quietly and without closure. The day she admitted to herself that her past had shaped how she treated her present, everything changed. She started small, catching her reactions, questioning her assumptions, and reminding herself, "This is not him. This is me remembering." It took months, but she said something beautiful afterwards. "I started laughing again. Real laughter, not polite laughter." That's what letting go does. It gives your spirit back its sound. Bitterness doesn't protect you. It only builds a cage. Forgiveness, on the other hand, isn't about excusing what happened. It's about freeing yourself from the burden of carrying it every day. When you release the story that hurt you, you finally make space for something new. Peace, love, laughter, even curiosity.
So let's bring it all together. The 5 habits we talked about aren't about beauty, age, or perfection. They're about energy. The way you speak, react,
and carry yourself sends messages louder than words ever could. The truth is, after 60, attraction is no longer about appearance, it's about presence. What men, and really people in general, crave is emotional balance. A woman who brings calm, curiosity, humor, and lightness into a room immediately becomes unforgettable. The most magnetic women I've ever met weren't trying to impress anyone. They'd simply made peace with themselves. They listened more, smiled easier, and didn't need to win every conversation. They didn't carry old stories like heavy luggage. They walked lighter, and that lightness drew others in. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Wise Life After 60, and share it with someone who deserves to remember her worth. Because true beauty after 60 isn't about looking young, it's about feeling alive. And when you carry that energy, everyone around you feels it too.